A number of arrests made by Nepal police in connection with medical professionals using fake academic certificates has sent shockwaves among the public, with the integrity of the medical profession itself on the line. The CIB has been conducting Operation Foxtrot for long targeting high-ranking officials and professionals who have used fake academic certificates. The arrest of lawmaker Sharma, who was defended by his party and later released, meanwhile has given way to various speculations in the national political fraternity. Good morning, I'm Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the top stories of the hour. Questions raised over the credibility of medical profession as a number of doctors arrested on charges of carrying fake academic certificates. Nepali Congress defends its lawmaker Sunil Sharma. A meeting between the government, businesses and trade unions to review the minimum basic salaries ends inconclusive. Serious differences emerged between employers and trade unions. At least 40 stolen wooden artifacts from Nepal at various times in the past being returned to Nepal today. The stolen artifacts believed to belong to the 19th and 20th century. And football fans await an exciting day as co-host Australia take on France, while England clash against Colombia in the two quarter-final matches at the Women's World Cup today. There is an ever-growing nexus of fake academic certificates as teachers, doctors, professors, among others, have been arrested for using fake academic certificates. Recently, the CIB has arrested at least 9 doctors for using fake academic certificates, which has raised questions on the very credibility of the medical profession. The 9 arrested doctors this week included Nepali Congress lawmaker and operator of 3 medical colleges, Sunil Sharma. It has been alleged that Sharma had produced fake ISC certificate to study MBBS. According to Nepal Medical Council, it was confirmed that over 200 doctors in the country had obtained fake academic certificates. The council also believes that the number of doctors using fake certificates could be much larger. Medical Council Exam Board and CIB had jointly started the operation since the year 2015. The corruption watchdog CIA has reported of hundreds of complaints filed related to fake academic certificates. According to the police record, since the launching of the operation since 2015 to 2021, some 69 doctors carrying fake academic certificates have been arrested. The Kathmandu District Court earlier yesterday allowed investigation against detained Nepali Congress lawmaker Sunil Sharma by releasing him on general date. Nepali Congress lawmaker Sharma was arrested on Thursday for allegedly carrying fake intermediate certificate on the basis of which he had studied MBBS. Sharma was taken to the court as Nepal police sought judicial custody of the tainted lawmaker while his case was investigated. Lawmaker Sharma had obtained the ISC certificate from Bihar's Farbejganj Araria College, on the basis of which he had completed MBBS from China. However, the District Court Kathmandu ruled that there was no need to detain lawmaker Sharma while he was investigated. Meanwhile, other doctors who were arrested alongside Sharma have not been released. Large sum of fake currencies have surfaced in the country at a time of tough economic state. A network of fake currency traders based in the capital have been active in the bordering region with India. The site at a police office in the capital yesterday showed police carrying numerous sacks containing bundles of fake currency notes. The police had also confiscated machines to print the fake notes, chemicals that are used in them, and cutting machines. The police had confiscated the fake notes from a Kathmandu-bound bus traveling from Lumbini on Saturday. A team of Thankot Police Beat and Kathmandu Area Police had confiscated fake notes worth up to 5.7 million rupees from Nagthunga. This was the biggest cache of fake notes that was being brought to the capital. 9 people have been arrested in the incident. Police say the same group had been active in printing fake notes in district in the Tarai region, and it has been understood the group printed notes in Bhaktapur and used it in Tarai region. The amount of fake notes that was sent to Tarai, however, is unclear. The 5.7 million rupees worth of fake notes was the tranche that was rejected for lacking quality and was on its way back to the location where it was printed. Of the 9 arrested, Arjun Subedi has been identified as the mastermind of the network. He had previously faced 7 different charges for robbery, banking fraud and ransom, among others. Police say apart from Tarai region, fake notes produced by the network have also made it among general public in the capital. Earlier on Tuesday last week, armed police force had confiscated another tranche of fake notes worth 182,000 rupees from the capital's Goltunga. The police are currently investigating to figure out if the current network was also involved in the Goltunga incident. In the past 5 years, police have confiscated fake notes worth 50 million rupees. Police say previously fake notes were injected into the market by printing them in India. However, the recent revelation of the network's operation from the capital has highlighted additional challenges. Private school operators have withdrawn their strike that was announced earlier, showing their differences to the proposed Federal Education Act. The school operators had earlier announced a nationwide protest program that included closure of all schools beginning tomorrow. D.K. Dhungana, chairperson of PAPSUN, the umbrella organization of private schools in the country, said that the government during the meeting yesterday had committed to address the issue. Dhungana said all the protest programs were withdrawn following the government assurance. The agitating private schools have shown serious reservations to the government's proposed Federal Education Act, which has a provision of transforming all private schools into academic public institutions. A tripartite meeting between the representatives of the government, businesses and workers to review the minimum basic salaries has ended inconclusive. The meeting at the Ministry of Labour in Singadarwar failed to make any headway due to differences between the representatives of the workers and employers. There is a legal provision of reviewing the basic salaries of workers every 2 years. The basic salary of workers presently stands at 9,385 rupees, while workers receive 15,000 rupees with an additional 5,615 rupees allowance. The employers have floated a proposal of an increment of 14% in the basic salary, which will take the monthly salary to 16,332 rupees. However, representatives of trade union organizations demanded the basic salary to be raised to 25,000 rupees. As both the sides remained adamant on their stand, the meeting was adjourned. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, what could be the reason for the failure to review the minimum basic salary, which should have been done every 2 years? Your options are A, lack of policy level commitment, B, reluctance of employers, and C, excuse of economic crisis. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. At least 40 stolen wooden artifacts from Nepal at various times in the past have been returned to the home country. Under the assistance of Embassy of Nepal in the US, the Department of Homeland Security of America has sent 40 wooden artifacts to Nepal. Honorary Consulate General in California, Rishi Dhakal, informed that the Department of Archaeology in Nepal will receive these artifacts by today. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection had confiscated the illegally exported artifacts of Nepal from Hawaii back in year 2010. Nepal government had subsequently requested for the return of these artifacts. The Embassy of Nepal in Washington, D.C. had received these artifacts, believed to be from the 19th and 20th century, from the Department of Homeland Security amid a ceremony in May earlier this year. Let's move on to the international update. The Hawaii wildfires had reached a grim milestone as the death toll rose to 67, making it the deadliest natural disaster in the state's history. Hundreds more have been reported missing and the death toll may still rise. It comes as Lahaina residents are being allowed to briefly return home to take stock of the damage to their fire-ravaged town. They returned amid warnings they would be greeted by destruction like they have not ever seen in their lives. State officials have reopened Lahaina to people with proof of residency for the first time since flames swept rapidly through early this week, razing much of the historic town. A curfew will operate daily from 2200 to 600 local time, and some of the hardest hit parts of the town remain restricted to search and rescue personnel. Meanwhile, the Coast Guard has said it helped rescue 17 people from the water in Hawaii who are now all in stable condition. The death toll is expected to rise as search teams comb through the charred ruins of the town with the aid of cadaver dogs after the fire torched 1,000 buildings and left thousands homeless. Hawaii's Governor Josh Green has said relief efforts have gathered more than $100 million. U.S. President Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden may be headed for a criminal trial in a sign that courtroom drama could play an outsized role in the 2024 presidential election. A potential trial raises the possibility of an unprecedented spectacle in U.S. history, the son of a sitting president facing criminal charges, while his father campaigns for re-election, likely against Republican Donald Trump, who faces at least 3 upcoming criminal trials of his own. Republicans in the House of Representatives are also threatening an impeachment inquiry into unproven claims that President Biden benefited from his 54-year-old son's business ventures. U.S. Special Counsel David Weiss, who has been investigating Hunter Biden since 2019, filed misdemeanor criminal tax and gun charges in June, but a federal judge refused to accept a proposed plea deal. Weiss said in a court filing yesterday that talks between the two sides have since broken down. Voting stations have opened in Malaysia's Selangor, one of 6 states to undergo crucial regional polls and the first major test of public support for Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's administration since it took power last year. The polls will pit Anwar against a mostly conservative ethnic Malay Muslim alliance that is gaining in popularity. The opposition has criticized the government for not doing enough to uphold the principles of Islam. Gains by the opposition alliance led by former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin could weaken the government and spook investors. Protesters marched to a French military base in Niger's capital Niamey, where thousands of pro-coup supporters gathered for a demonstration as regional leaders were considering military intervention to restore civilian rule. Since the July 26 military ouster of elected President Mohamed Bazoum, many Nigerians have joined junta-organized rallies to show support for the generals, criticize Western powers and laud Russia, which is vying for influence with the West in the region. Popular anger is targeted at former colonial power France, whose forces were kicked out of Mali and Burkina Faso after the coups there, and whose presence in Niger is under threat. Supporters of assassinated Ecuadorian presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio gathered at a public memorial event in Quito while his family held a mass at the cemetery where he will be buried. Villavicencio, a former lawmaker and crusading anti-corruption journalist, was gunned down as he left a campaign event on Wednesday evening, less than 2 weeks before the election. Amid a tide of rising violence and crime in the South American country, the murder has led some Ecuadorians to weigh whether they will vote on the 20th August and has made an unsettled election even harder to forecast. Villavicencio's party, Construye, held a large event at Quito's convention center where his vice presidential candidate Andrea Gonzalez spoke while wearing a bulletproof vest. Meanwhile, Villavicencio's family held a 100-person mass at a chapel at the Monte Olivio cemetery in the north of the city, accompanied by heavily armed police. Five United Nations security staff who were kidnapped in Yemen by Al-Qaeda militants 18 months ago have been released. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres welcomed the release of the UN staffers, 4 from Yemen and 1 from Bangladesh. Yemen-based Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula has used a conflict between a Saudi-led coalition and the Iran-aligned Houthis to enhance its influence. Yemen has been mired in conflict since the Houthi group ousted the government from the capital Sana'a in late 2014. The Saudi Arabia-led military coalition intervened in 2015, aiming to restore the government. Hundreds of demonstrators took part in an anti-government protest in Sri Lanka's capital, urging the government to step down and calling for reforms. Demonstration in Colombo marked the first anniversary of anti-government protesters that forced then-President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to flee the country. Rajapaksa resigned from office last summer following unprecedented unrest over his government's handling of the worst economic crisis in 7 decades and days after thousands of protesters stormed the president's official residence and office. Yesterday's protest was led by opposition MP and former army chief Sarath Fonseca. In a rare show of restraint, riot police did not use water cannon and tear gas to disperse the protesters. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.